Can you mix hot composting with vermicomposting? The answer is yes, with some restrictions. We're going to cover that on today's episode of Coffee and Compost. My name is Steve Churchill, and I own the Urban Worm Company. So I got a question this week from a reader asking if she could mix vermicomposting with hot composting in a hot compost bin that she was planning to build in her backyard. And this is something where having the term vermicomposting include the word composting really leads people astray a little bit because they really are two different processes. However, I'm going to give the green light for this person to go ahead and try it for a couple reasons. But first, let's talk about the differences between composting and vermicomposting. Composting requires a lot of volume. You're going to try to create a lot of heat to generate this chemical process using what are called thermophilic microbes, which thrive in really hot conditions and create more heat and create sort of this virtuous cycle of heat. And what you're looking for is temperatures that are about 130 degrees or higher, and you want to maintain that for several days. Vermicomposting is a surface area dependent process using really kind of the physical processing of worms through the worm's gut, and it's going to happen at a much lower temperature. Really about 95 degrees is about as hot as you want. So you would think that these two processes really can't be mixed. They kind of can though, and there's really two reasons why. To be honest with you, most hot composters are not going to generate much heat in their compost piles. Most households don't actually produce enough nitrogen-rich waste to generate a ton of heat in their piles. You normally have to go supplement it with things like coffee grounds or, this time of year would be pumpkins, and that stuff can generate a lot of heat, but a normal household is not going to generate enough nitrogen-rich food waste to actually get a whole lot of hot composting going on in their bins. So in short, vermicomposting will work in a hot compost bin because most hot composters are going to fail to actually get their temperatures to achieve liftoff. The other thing is that even if somebody does get the hot temperature in their hot compost bin, it is not going to be uniformly hot all the way throughout. So here at the Urban Worm Company, we had an aerated static pile bin that achieved temperatures of 170 degrees. This was with horse manure and some hay and a few other nitrogen sources, and that pile was hot. It stayed hot for weeks. The thing is when after it cooled down and we went to go get some stuff out of it to feed our continuous flow system to make worm castings, we noticed that there were worms in there. And so it just goes to show you that even though you're getting the hot core of a pile up into the 160, 170 degree range, it is not going to be uniformly hot all the way throughout. Worms are excellent at taking care of themselves, a lot better than we give them credit for. So in a hot compost bin, even if you do achieve really hot temperatures, those worms are going to spread out into the areas of the bin where they can live. And they're going to find that nice happy spot for them pretty well on their own. I will tell you, if you go and turn that bin and it is hot, then you might be turning some of those worms into the hot part and they may die. It's just kind of a fact of life. But in general, you're going to be just fine inoculating a hot compost pile with worms and achieving maybe some better results than you just might with just hot composting. So I'm going to go ahead and give the green light on that. Now, the one caveat to this is that you cannot do this in a tumbler. Most tumblers are going to be a dark color, normally a dark green or a black color. And even if your compost sort of fails to achieve liftoff, even if you really don't get composting going on in your tumbler, that tumbler is going to be way too hot and way too stifling of an environment to be able to accommodate worms, especially in the summer months. So I would definitely not do that. But in general, you can use vermicomposting and composting together. In fact, this is a great way to keep a worm colony alive over the winter. Even in places like Canada, you can have a nice thriving worm population in a hot compost pile or in a pile that at least has some of that heat generation going on. My buddy Bentley Christie at redwormcomposting.com has a great article about how he's able to do this year after year, and it provides him a lot of excellent vermicompost come spring. Gang, I've been doing this a few years now, and one of the things I've noticed is that most mistakes people make with their worm bins fall into one or more of 6 different categories. I get a lot of emails, I get a lot of reader questions, and I notice that people tend to make pretty much the same mistakes. So I've created this handy little guide that you can use to steer yourself clear of some vermicomposting landmines. Just click that little button up there. It's going to take you to a page, and I'm going to get you that guide immediately. So thanks everybody for watching. Hope that you subscribe. Hope you hit the like button, all that good stuff. And I will see you on the next episode of Coffee and Compost.